Okay. Good day.
Okay, everyone.
Could you please take a photo to her? Or take this? Yes, it's recording right now.
Oh, okay.
Somebody.
What is love? There's many names.
They have a big group. This one is better. It's fine.
Talk about mental health. We've got so many countries here. We've done our work.
It's Kelopon. This is here.
Hello, welcome all to this presentation, and I'll take you to India from Czech Republic, and that too free of cost. So thank me later. And these are the psychologists who have been selected from India, and we are from north, south, east, west. So entire India is present here. Talk to us and learn about the cuisines and festivals, because we have diverse festivals. So you'll walk 2 kilometers left, you'll have different culture, practices, traditions and languages. And we love tea. But I don't drink tea. And if you walk into any home, the tea will taste different. But it's a unity. So unity in diversity, that's India for you. So this is a beautiful infographic that was prepared by my fellow colleagues. And I don't have to talk about our population, you already know. So coming to psychology, and I'll take you to the word man, which is the root of mind that you already know. And if we talk about Indian philosophy, the philosophers and the scholars, they have really dived deep into what mind is. And what we see as a body is the visible part of the mind. And what we refer to as mind is the invisible part of the body. Hence, inner is the inner of the outer, and outer is outer of the inner. So they are not two. The Western philosophy was struggling with Cartesian dualism. We already passed that. Our beginning was beyond this. And coming to psychology, well, we have Gita, Upanishads and Puranas which dive really deep into personality, cognition. I can go on, we'll have a talk later, but the first psychological laboratory was established in 1905 in India by Narendranath Sen Gupta. First department of psychology at University of Calcutta in 1916, and Mr. Virendra Shekhar Bose was the first PhD in psychology from India. 1921, his PhD thesis, Concept of Repression, and he talked to Freud, he challenged Freud. And they both have a correspondence from 1921 to 1937, published, known as Bose-Freud correspondence, where he challenged Freudian Oedipus complex. And in 1922, Sigmund Freud gave him the membership of the IPA. It was also the year where Indian Psychoanalytic Society was established in Calcutta. And in 1925, we had a journal, Indian Journal of Psychology. First clinic was established in 1933. Mr. Virendra Shekhar Bose also formed Lumbini Park Mental Hospital in 1940, and in 1947, when we got independence, he also founded Samiksha, a journal again dedicated to psychology. So these three are, well, we have many figures, but for the ease of the presentation, I have chosen these three people. Virendra Shekhar Bose, you already know, he corresponded with Freud, challenged his Oedipus complex because he gave the theory of opposite wishes to theorize ambivalence, where he says that a wish to kill in conscious awareness is followed by a wish to be killed. So there are opposite wishes in how the mind works. And Sudhir Kakkar, well, he recently passed away in 22nd April, and he was the guru of my guru who taught me psychoanalysis. And his work is translated in more than 22 different languages, and he has been honored by Germany, Vienna. Well, the list is quite long one, and he has worked and produced several interesting pieces such as Culture and Psyche, Mad and Divine, Shamans, Mystics and Doctors, and numerous other novels also. And Professor Doganand Sinha established the Department of Psychology at Allahabad University in 1961. And we all know about Leon Festinger's cognitive dissonance theory. Well, Festinger used Dr. Sinha's finding on perception to form that theory. And well, we have many associations, but these are the main. National Academy of Psychology, founded in 1989, the Journal is Psychological Studies. Then we have Indian Academy of Applied Psychology, founded in 1962, and the third one is Indian Association for Clinical Psychologists, founded in 1968. And well, that's my time. I'll pass the stage to Mr. Nan.
So hi everyone. So as you can see in this slide that the prominent school of thoughts in India are quite similar to the ones prevailing in the Western world. However, the distinction arises in the intricacies adopted in these school of thoughts. For example, if we are studying personality psychology in the Indian subcontinent, there is a notion called Swabhav or Prakriti. Swabhav generally means nature of a person or a temperament of a person. So from that particular notion, the study of personality began with respect to Indian subcontinent, and we took up portions from Ayurveda, Yoga and Panch Upanishads. Well, if you would want, I would like to elaborate upon it later. And coming to cognitive psychology, as my colleague Vineet already mentioned, that Festinger's cognitive dissonance theory was actually improved work of Professor Sinha. So in cognitive psychology also we do borrow some concept from the Western school of thought, but we have also included our prevailing notion. For an example, if we look at the study of intelligence, it's not only a study of our cognitive mental abilities, but also our entrepreneurial, emotional and several other competencies. The study of intelligence in the Indian subcontinent was majorly studied as integral intelligence, that is taking into account all the four major aspects of our surroundings. Then moving towards developmental psychology, this also looks like similar to the Western or prevailing notion of prevailing subfield of psychology, but it also borrowed elements from our scriptures, and there were 4 stages of development of an individual, which are Brahmacharya, that is bachelorhood, Grihastha, that is married life, Vanprastha, that is you leave your married life, and Sannyas, that is you go on to become an ascetic, a yogi. Then social and cultural psychology, Professor Girishwar Mishra, he is an eminent personality in that. And social and cultural, I think the most prominent work I would like to highlight is the topic of prejudice and bias, the discrimination. The work was actually also carried out in India by Adi Narayan in the year 1941. So we can say that his work laid a platform for the study of racial prejudices, because Adi Narayan's work was on color prejudices. So it formed a backbone or a platform for study of prejudices and discrimination. Quickly moving forward, there is an organizational and industrial psychology, the pioneer of which is H.C. Ganguly. Sports psychology, India being a country of million fans, it was pertinent that we do pay attention to sports psychology. Jitendra Mohan is a pioneer in that, and military psychology. So the Indian Psychological Research Wing was the first organization which was actually interested with the responsibility of selecting officers and persons for the Indian Army. Then after, as per the need arose, with the incidence of fratricide in the organization and mental health issues due to remote defense personnel posting. So military psychology is also being given equal prominence, the stalwart of which is Professor Manas Kumar Mandal. So moving towards the training requirements to be a clinical psychologist or an academician in the Indian subcontinent, you have to follow a certain path. The path is, you take a bachelor's degree of 3 years in psychology. Although the bachelor's degree can be in psychology or in any other subject, as is the case with me, I am a bachelor in sociology. Then after, you need to have a post-graduation in psychology, similar case with me. And an MPhil for 2 years. If you want to go into clinical practice, you have to take an MPhil. Then PsyD or PhD. PsyD is usually aimed if you want to go into clinical practices, and if you go on to pursue PhD, you can be both in academics as well as clinical practices. Apart from these regular degrees, we also have professional diplomas like Associate Clinical Psychologist, Postgraduate Diploma in Counseling and other specializations, and certain certificate courses which probably span around 3 to 6 months of period. The diplomas are usually 1 to 2 years in length. So now I would like to invite Sandhya, my colleague, to carry forward from over here.
Thank you, Adnan. Hello, everyone. So the training requirement that we just saw and the history that you just saw, you would have understood that we have a lot of responsibilities on our shoulder, right? So right now what has happened is there's a new education policy that has come into the picture, which includes 4 years of bachelor's in psychology, and then you have like 4 years of PsyD. So you do not have PhD for clinical practice, it's only a PsyD with 2 exit points. The first exit point is a diploma that gives you a license of Associate Clinical Psychologist, and the second exit point is your MPsy, which also gives you the license of Associate Clinical Psychologist. So if you want to become a clinical psychologist or a rehabilitation psychologist, you must complete 8 years of psychological training in India starting 2025. So over to my colleague, Bhavya.
Hello everyone. So I'll be talking about the current mental health scenario in the Indian context and what's the crisp snapshot. So as you can read it off the slide, there are 200 million people estimated to be living with poor mental health condition, and also 16% of adults in India actually face mental health disorders. With the male and the female divide, we have segregated that approximately 14% for males and 7.5% for females. And depressive disorder being the highest on the ladder, as with the case with China and Canada as well. The mental health infrastructure is still developing, it's still in the nascent phase, and people don't receive quick access and best of the treatments. That is the main compounding problem though, but and we also expect a burden of diseases to be doubled by 2040. India stands 126th out of 143 nations in the World Happiness Report 2024, and this is like a quick estimation, what we envision to be the cost, and you can see there's a clear imbalance. The annual health expenditure of India is 1.15% of GDP, and the mental health budget is alarming, less than 1%. Why is there an apathy? Why is there a disinterest, amongst the public and the political domain? So precisely, there is stigma, there is discrimination, there is misinformation, there is ignorance, and of course, this is the main reason. And political neglect, there is less funding. They focus more on tangible issues and less priority on mental health taking the backseat. We are cognizant of all of these challenges, and to end this, end the Indian presentation on a positive note, We have policy changes, National Mental Health Policy, which was implemented in 2014. Then there's Mental Health Care Act, which was implemented in 2017, which provides a lot of access to people. There are awareness campaigns as well, and telemental health has really skyrocketed. And precisely after the pandemic, during the pandemic, there are applications, mobile applications like Now and Me. There is Your Dost, which translates to your friend, and you can post anonymously, you can seek support, and there is great resources now. And also there are great institutions like NIMHANS, which is the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, which is pioneering a lot of great work and also groundbreaking research. So well, thank you with that. These are all our languages. I would like to invite all the Indian colleagues who are here with us, because we all were not practicing, but working on it until midnight yesterday. And it is an entire collective effort. We were just the presenters, but we were all together in this. So I would really like to acknowledge all of them. Can you come, guys, please come.
As you can see, India is the world's most populous country. And very diverse. So, yeah. This is actually
Thank you.
Any questions?
Definitely some questions.
Yes. You mentioned the gender divide in terms of mental health prevalence. Do you know any reasons for why that might be the case?
Can I explain? Yeah.
It goes underreported, I think.
For females?
It's less, it's more stigmatizing for females to report mental health weakness of any sort, actually. Yeah. So they would be less likely to approach a therapist, or it would probably go unheard.
And to add on to what she said, it's very weird because you'll see a lot of psychologists in our country are women.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you can just walk into a class. You walk into a class with 50 women and probably 3 men, and that's our master's class.
Yeah.
But also it depends disorder-wise. So for example, if you're looking at attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, women, younger especially, are more susceptible to, say, inattentivity per se because of the cultural reason. Girls are supposed to behave a particular way in our culture, so there is no hyperactive element to it. However, boys are free to show their hyperactiveness, run around and just be called naughty. Then if you look at the adult ADHD stats, you will see the highest number of adult ADHD cases are women, because the inattentive symptom, which went misdiagnosed or undiagnosed, manifests as adult ADHD. So it's a broad topic and it also depends on the sort.
Yeah, please.
I'm just curious, how many registered psychologists do you have in India? Is there any official statistics?
Yeah, so it's 0.8 mental health professionals per 1 million patients. So I can't give you the exact number, but according to the latest paper that was the latest publication, it was 0.8, and mind you, my mental health professionals include psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, special educators, counselors, and just psychologists who are just MA graduates. So 0.8 mental health professionals come to India, work there, collaborate with us.
It's not the patient number, but it's the population.
So 1 lakh population.
Yeah.
There is a question.
This was a really awesome presentation, thank you. I was going to ask, do you feel like there has been efforts by the government to kind of like increase providers and like just all the things, like I think we've all echoed like across our countries, like it sucks to be in this field at times. And the compensation isn't always great. It's a lot of long hours. And it's really like emotional kind of burdensome work at times? Like, do you feel like there are efforts from the government or even like within societies, you know, like psychological societies to kind of improve the quality there?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
So yes, the societies are working towards it. There are small societies which are being created and governed by RCI, which has already been mentioned. How do we get the MPhil degree and how we can get a license to practice there. This governing society makes sure that there are small societies and they give the license as rehabilitation psychologists to them or special educators to them. Firstly this, and apart from that, the government is working really good in this field. Though the data seems to be like in the last 10 years, we are doing really good in this thing, and we have a national health mission as well. From the Mental Health Act 2017, we are working on this province and we are making sure that the number which is being stated by her per 1 lakh population is very, very less, and so they are giving more seats, more number of degrees, and more number of students are being encouraged to get participated in that. And so for doing that, it's a long heap, I can understand that, but for that long run, we are changing the narrative. Like for example, we all said this field sometimes is very tiring, it's very overwhelming. So we're making sure that the students are getting these types of skills from their bachelor's only. So now we have bachelor's with research as a four-year program. Then we have MSc in clinical psychology. We are making sure that these type of skills are inbuilt with them in the very early stages. Then we have postgraduate diplomas in counseling, intervention and guidance, and then rehab psychology, so that we have more number of mental health practitioners in the country.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much.